Shalom Aleichem everybody, second installment of Tikkun in Depth, the class we're doing here on Rabbi Nachman's Tikkun by Breslov Institute. We're on page 2. So it says here, here's what happened. That Adam sinned. His sin was so general that it affected the whole world. How do we know? Based on, you can understand logically if he's the only human there. So his son Cain killed Abel, he killed half the world. He killed the entire world, half of it. Killed all of his descendants. Millions of people to come from Abel, he killed them. So same thing, back then, since there's not a whole lot of humans, back then, for that reason, there's a ray of light. What is... Since there's not a lot of humans over here, better? There's the Rebbe, makes sense, perfect. So not a lot of humans, you can understand, logically makes sense. That one person's mistake changes the face of history. So that person's, Adam's mistake, he did not succeed in rectifying the damage, and also the generations in front, the generations after him also didn't succeed in doing the damage. The only exception was Abraham. He succeeded. He alone was successful in elevating himself. As a result, he was chosen, him and his descendants were chosen to do God's will, to do God's mission in the world, to fix the world, to elevate themselves above hatred and above physical desires. In Judaism, so you'll see, so we'll study it. So he was 99 years old, God appeared to Abraham and said, I am God Almighty, walk before me, be perfect. Now they're going to mention all the places in the Bible that discuss covenant. To us, for us, what does this covenant mean? What does it mean? Okay? So it says here, and even for non-Jews also this covenant. So we'll talk about it. So I'll make my covenant between me and you, and I'll multiply you very much. As for me, my covenant is with you. I'll establish my covenant between me and you, and your seed after you, throughout the generations, for an everlasting covenant to be a God unto you and your seed after you. And I will give you and your seed after you the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession. I will be their God. So it says here, the covenant between God and Abraham was to consist in an eternal relationship of special closeness of God and Abraham and his descendants, the Jewish people. And Abraham had the responsibility of walk before me, be perfect. What does that mean? It means devotion. So it means devotion. And Abraham and his descendants were to repair the damage brought about through Adam's sin and live up to the destiny intended for them, for him. God promised his special province the gift of the land of Israel. Not only do we get the covenant, but also we get to keep the land of Israel, which is God's holy land. The existence of the covenant was to be marked by an inscribable sign, some sign. I don't know this SAT word. And this is my covenant which shall keep between me and your seed after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin. So, the circumcision is the sign of the covenant between God and Jewish people. So, very simply, in Judaism, we have a very special relationship to physicality, just like we talked about the last class, right? That for us, physicality is neutral. It's not evil. Your desires are not evil desires. They're neutral. And so, with the neutral physical needs of the body, you're able to elevate them to holiness and make them holy, and elevate them, and make them part of your service of God. So, the sexual desire is the totality of all the other desires. That's the general desire that you can find in everything, in all the other ones. And a lot of times society corrupts the sexual desire to make it very gross and disgusting, and oftentimes they bring it so low that you lose the holiness. You can't see the holiness in it, but really, you can understand bringing children in the world is one of the most holiest things there is. People don't believe in God, and their kids are born, they're like, wow, there's a miracle. You can see it, a revealed miracle, to have a child born. Revealed miracle. So, you can see that the thing that could be the lowest of the low could also be the highest of the high. It could be a revealed miracle. For someone who doesn't believe in God, it could be a proof of God. It's crazy, right? The lowest thing could be the highest thing. So you can see with the physical desire itself, neutral. We have this capacity, we can do that. We can create kids. But so you understand that when you use it for good, then it becomes very holy. The same thing, that's why we have the circumcision, because and for that, In us, it's a permanent fixed sign. A sign in our body that represents two things. Represents here that first represents that certain things need to be discarded completely. Certain things need to be discarded. So you have to have certain things you discard, certain desires and crazy things you need to discard. And because in your path of serving God, of focusing your entire life on God and doing His will, you have to discard certain things. If someone wants to get married but is partying every day, probably should stop partying, right? And you can say that about any goal. If you have a certain goal in your job, maybe you should do the things required to get to the goal. The same thing, the same way in holiness, in your relationship with God, certain things need to be discarded naturally, while others need to be clarified, need to be sifted through. You sift through certain things and you redirect them to holiness. Someone's desire, maybe there's someone's desire to make money. It's very, very holy. Money. You redirect it, you sift through it, and you understand that you do it for God. And you have it as a capacity to do for God. And you elevate. And so for that, there's two things, there's two properties, that's what we do. We stay away from bad and we do good. Stay away from bad, we discard the not good altogether. Those not good influences in your life, those not good things that you want to work on, there's a part of it that you discard, there's a part of it that you stick to good, that you elevate, that you bring the sift out and you bring the good. And for that, Baruch Hashem, we need siyata d'shmaya, help from heaven. And 5 minutes a day talking to God, best thing you can do for yourself to elevate, to do those two things. Rabbi Nachman teaches on every physical desire you want to work on. If you pray on it, you just take one at a time and you pray on one until you elevate it and achieve the level you want, and then you keep praying on the other things. So each thing in life that you feel you're missing, pray on it 5 minutes a day and be patient. The key thing is just to hold on, be patient, don't lose faith, don't lose heart. Reach out, talk to your friends, talk to your community, talk to God every day, and you will be successful because you'll just keep going. Consistency is key. Never give up, my friends. I'll talk to you very soon. Shavua tov.